Hey dumplings, it's David Desai. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about Taehyung and apparently him being a victim of a scam. This was something that he spoke about recently. I definitely want to talk about what happened and how this is actually very dangerous, and I think this affects a lot of people. We will get into all of that and my thoughts on it. We also had BTS at a radio interview and RM basically was asked about their dating a little bit. This is fun. We will get into it. We will talk about it and spill the tea. So if you are new here and you're interested in this type of stuff, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you're a hater, like to be the first to leave your hate comment, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also so you can be the first to do so. Now, let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want to drop into is apparently the scam that Taehyung has been in. Not too long ago, maybe just like a couple days ago, BTS was promoting their new song, Dynamite. It is dynamite. I'm still not sick of it yet. It's just been on repeat constantly. And Big It held kind of an online global conferencing to talk about the single. Basically, BTS was there and they had to answer a bunch of questions and talk about how they felt when they found out they were #1 on the Hot Billboard 100. I'm sure they were all very excited about that, as you can probably imagine. This is definitely huge for all of them. Definitely something to write home about and talk about. A lot of K-pop artists want to make it in America. It's like one of their goals. Of course, not all of them. Some only care about being famous in Korea, and that's cool too. But I can imagine BTS is the envy of a lot of idols in Korea who want to make it in America. Make like a really big splash in American entertainment, which they have obviously done with their top #1. So it's definitely good to hear Zaddy's thoughts on their #1. Those things that I mentioned previously are not their thoughts, those are just my opinions. But they were answering some questions and it got up to a point where Taehyung decided to share a story when he was a victim of a scam. This was back when he was attempting to be a singer, and this was in his pre-debut days. Can you imagine a time when Taehyung was not famous? And back in his pre-debut days, I cannot imagine. I do not remember life before Taehyung was famous. Apparently he was going to Seoul from Daegu, and him and his father were taking a cab. Apparently the cab ride was only supposed to be about like 20 minutes, and the cab driver might have thought it was funny to then take a longer route. Of course, the longer they spend in the cab, the more the cab driver makes. Taehyung said this: "I took a taxi with my dad and we ended up being scammed by the taxi driver. We didn't know that we would have to go through 3 tunnels." Now, of course, Taehyung mentioned that this is something that he looks back on and he laughs about now. It definitely is really funny if you're looking back, but this is definitely something really dangerous for the cab driver to go a completely different route or something like that and then try to trick you of your money. Now, giving the benefit of the doubt, maybe the cab driver was new and he didn't know the route very well, but overall, a lot of cab drivers do know it, and a lot of cab drivers actually do this, and that's not good. I don't think Uber was really a thing, or Uber definitely wasn't a thing in Korea probably at that time, but if Taehyung and Taehyung's dad had Uber back then, this problem would have been avoided, I think. I really think so, because when you're taking a cab, you have to follow the discretion of the driver. But if you're using Uber or any type of ride-sharing app, you can actually see a map on where you're supposed to go and how long it actually takes to get there. And if you're seeing that the cab driver is purposely taking a route outside of the route on the app, you should leave the cab. There's a lot of horror stories with this type of stuff, and it's very dangerous, all right? And the least dangerous thing that could probably happen is you spending an extra 20 bucks on the cab ride. Kidnappings can happen. So I was definitely shocked to hear that this happened to Taehyung. Obviously, they all have a driver now, and they don't have to deal with stuff like this. I'm going to assume stuff like this, it doesn't really happen to them anymore. But also, they know Seoul a lot better now, so they would know that they're being tricked. Also, Google it and check your maps or anything like that, and you'll be able to see how long it's supposed to take to go from point A to point B. And if it only takes 20 minutes and it's been an hour and there's been no traffic, something's wrong. I wanted to see if anyone had anything to say about this on the tweetster. One person wrote, "Taehyung, when I came up from Seoul from the provinces, it was me and my dad. We took a cab and we were actually cheated by the taxi driver. Me on the 93 Sugar hoodie when I finally find the taxi driver that scammed Taehyung and his dad." And that is a video edited together of Sugar throwing a chair at someone. And this is so true. If I ever find that driver, I'm going to punch him. He will get a punch by me. It won't hurt because my punches, they don't hurt, but he'll get a punch. Don't scam your customers. This is a bad business practice. Customers tend to not like to be scammed. People won't use that taxi anymore. This is exactly why apps became such a big thing, because traditional cabs were doing things like this. Be careful, Taehyung, Zaddy, okay? You make me worry so much. Another army wrote this, which I thought was really funny. They said, "Taehyung said he got scammed by a taxi driver when he first came to Seoul. Well, guess who's a millionaire now?" I don't know if you know how scammers work. The scammer hopes that the person that they are scamming actually has a lot of money, because then they can keep scamming this person. They'll just come back and scam him. They'll be like, he's loaded. The last thing you want to tell a scammer is that you have a lot of money. They'll probably leave you alone if you got no money. Sadly enough, this one scam is not illegal. I don't think there's a way to make it illegal simply because you can't prove that the taxi driver knew of an alternate route that was probably shorter. It's a messy situation. I'm glad Taehyung made it out okay. However, the conference wasn't mainly about this. They talked about various things and of course promoted the single and talked about the single and all that stuff. BTS obviously does a lot of press and they answer a lot of different questions that us ARMYs are dying to know. One moment that I definitely want to bring up is this moment in an interview. This was of course a radio interview. An audience was listening to the radio interview and asked BTS about their dating life. This is usually not a great thing to ask during an interview, especially for a K-pop idol, as it does tend to make people uncomfortable. If they were dating, they obviously wouldn't want to announce it here on the radio and expose it into the world this way. They would like to actually announce it probably themselves, maybe on their social media or whatever. So either way, you're probably not going to get an answer whether they're dating someone or not. But I suppose this audience member who asked the question was just curious. This ARMY was curious, and you can't blame them for giving it a try. The ARMY asks, what about dating? Are you guys dating? RM obviously felt a little bit awkward and decided to say, oh, the connection doesn't seem so good here. This is probably the best thing to do, because of course BTS has said multiple times that they would like to focus on their careers, likely not thinking about dating anyone. Surprise, I am the career they are focusing on. As I said before, they are married to me, and why would they look out and date someone else when they have me? I am all they need. Honestly, if they were actually married to me, they probably would go out and find someone else, because I am not all they need. I am not everything anyone needs. The of course interviewer or the host did say to BTS that if they were to date someone, there is a chance that they could just FaceTime them. After all, most celebrities or musicians are always touring or flying to places and all that stuff, so FaceTime is definitely the best way to connect with your significant other. However, by the way, now is the perfect time to date because of the whole thing that's going on in the world. No one's traveling. Perfect. You aren't traveling so much, so you can link up with me. Hint, hint. My number is 71. I am glad that BTS or RM didn't freak out about this or really had that much of a hard time, because dating is definitely a sensitive issue to talk about, and they don't want to hurt anyone in the process by saying something. A lot of, let's say, more passionate ARMYs would probably have their pitchforks up and about if they were to hear who BTS is dating. BTS is going to be doing a lot of interviews in America, of course, with their recent song Being American. I really hope interviewers learn to ask questions outside of dating. Questions like this are not great because they can cause a little bit of like fan wars. Like when Jungkook said he had a crush on IU, I had no doubt that IU probably got a lot of death threats, which is not good. Not fair at all. I definitely wanted to see what people's reactions to this was on the Twitter. One person wrote, that one radio interview in the US where they asked about dating and Namjoon went, static noises. The connection isn't good while they were on the same room. RM, you so cute and funny. I'm gonna start to use that in everyday conversation now. For questions I just don't want to answer. If a teacher calls on you, you can say this. If I'm ever at lunch and someone asks, you say you're married to BTS, but where's your ring? I'ma just be like, ooh, the connection here is just not great. You're gonna have to ask another question and the connection will be a little bit better. Genius, RM, genius. I learned nice tricks from you, BTS. I'm kidding, of course. But RM's thinking, he's very quick on his feet. He thinks very fast, and he has a lot of clever ways of answering questions. And this is why people call him a genius. Likely why he was able to speak at the UN. This is not just your typical book smart, okay? He is smart. He is unique. He has that life experience type of smart. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it down in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for leaving a comment. And as always, I do have a Patreon. If you want to go over to my Patreon, kind of check that out. Anything you contribute over there really helps kind of give back to this channel and all that stuff. I really do hope you go over there because I also do have a lot of exclusive content over there, like reaction videos, which I cannot post here due to copyright and things like that. So you can get music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions, all that stuff over on my Patreon. So please check it out. Link in the top of the description down below. There's also 2 videos that will appear on the screen at the end of the video. So click on one of those. See you over there. Bye.